Welcome to Holistically Speaking. I am Morella DeVoe, your host. Our mission with Holistically Speaking is to be the avenue through which the voices of holistic health reach you at the time you need it most. And we often have naturopaths and all sorts of alternative practitioners for health, but today we're talking about how to become a joy addict. My guest today is one of my best friends in the world, and I'm delighted that she lives here in Burlington. It's Taraleigh Weathers. Welcome.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. I'm so grateful
It's
to be here.
It's been so fun to entertain the idea of having you here. And one of the things that I want to tell our viewers to set up why I'm so excited to have you on the show. When I say that you're one of my favorite people in the world and just so proud that you're one of my best friends, is because I don't know many people that are quite as authentic as you are. And I think that anybody who knows you knows that you are like the embodiment of authenticity and joy. And so I'm thrilled to have you on the show. And I want our viewers to know who you are and why I decided to invite you. Taraleigh is a blogger for the Huffington Post. You are a published author. It's fan food, right? It's a food for tailgating at a food book for tailgating at fish shows, right?
Yeah, it's from the tour lot to the kitchen pot. So anything that people that love fish like to cook.
And you'll see that Taraleigh is all about music and integrating music into what she does. And you also have an upcoming book called
How to Become a Joy Addict, the 12-Step Program.
And so we're going to be talking with you about how to become a joy addict. And like I said, I don't know anybody that really truly lives this as well as you do. So I think that I know you're an inspiration to me. I think you're going to be an inspiration to our viewers. So I'm so thrilled to have you.
Thank you.
So how did you get, I'm interested in sharing your story. How did you get to the place where you're helping people live more joyful, more authentic lives?
Yeah, well, about 37 years ago, I was born.
That's where the journey begins.
That's when it began. And me, like most babies, I was just like, all I did was experience joy. And when I wasn't experiencing joy, I cried and let my parents know that I wasn't happy, I was hungry, or I needed my diaper changed, and then they fixed it. And then I was like, yay, it's time for happiness again. And then somewhere along the way, we get caught up with life and kind of lose that joy. And I mean, that definitely happened with drama of friends and like jobs after college and yada, 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 things that weren't in alignment. And so I just learned so much through the process of it all happening to myself, and then how just choosing a joyful life and how important that is. And that kind of brought me to being able to guide other people to do it. I just use all of my life experiences as lessons.
And was there a point in your life that you realized, I am really unhappy and I need to start shifting this?
Yes. There was many of them.
Yeah.
And one in particular, I talk about this a lot because it's so vivid, was I taught dance in a public school. And it was one of those jobs where it was really safe. You know, as a professional dancer, and I was doing all these things, you never knew where your next paycheck was coming from, and then this job, and it was where I grew up, the job. So it was really safe. It had a 401k, even though I don't even really know what that is. I had a steady paycheck, all of these things. I had health benefits, and so like my family and my friends are all like, yeah, like I got the job, you made it.
Right.
And I really did not like this job at all. And I remember just like praying on my way to work one day that I would get into a car accident, because I would rather be in a car accident than actually go to work.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, one little girl had the flu one time, and I was hugging her because I wanted to catch the flu so I wouldn't have to go to work. And then I hurt my back. I herniated a disc, and the doctor was like, oh, I'm sorry, you can't go to work for a week. And I was like, yes! And he was like, no one's ever had that reaction. I think you need to maybe relook things.
It's so funny because now that you say that, and I'll just share, I had a moment exactly like that where I thought I was really, really sick. And I thought, oh, well, if I get really sick, then I could quit my job tomorrow.
Yeah.
And it was one of those moments like, oh my God, I guess now I know how I feel about my job.
Yeah, and I was sick all the time during that time. It wasn't things that made me not able to go to work, but I was manifesting it in myself because I didn't want to be there. So I was like, what can I do to not be here?
Right.
And it was really that I was just miserable in the situation.
And that was one of your starting points.
That was, a really big one. And the interesting thing that happened was I was really scared to resign because the kids really liked me and the staff liked me and whatever. So I went to the principal's office, and everything in my being was like, run the other way. Like, I felt like I was being chased by a tiger. It was that fear of like, this is the worst idea ever. Do not resign. Like, you're not safe. Like, don't do it.
Right.
But everything else in my being was like, you have to do this. Like, feel this fear. It's okay. You're not going to die. Just go in and say it. And so before I even got a word out, she was like, the budget has been cut and your position has been eliminated. I'm so sorry. You're going to get unemployment benefits for at least a year. I'll give you the best recommendations ever. And then that like helped, that year after that really helped me to be able to develop who I am. And so it all worked for me.
And how is your life today different than it was at that time?
Oh my gosh. I don't even know if I can put that into words. I just feel like I'm so in alignment with my soul's purpose and truth, and I'm able to be myself all the time because I'm working for myself, so I'm not going to fire myself for coming in a crazy outfit or like sleeping in late if I feel like it.
Right. And hopefully you're not thinking you're going to quit your job.
Yeah. And I don't really ever feel like I'm working anymore. It's funny, people ask me how many hours a week I work. I'm like, I really have no idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like it's so different, and I'm also serving people in such a really great way that feels authentic to me, and so I'm helping them, they're helping me, and I feel like I'm like constantly energized. I don't feel exhausted ever, where when I was teaching, I like wanted to sleep 24 hours a day.
Yeah. And what you're saying right now is really an important point that I think a lot of people don't realize, that when you're doing work that really brings you joy, that's in alignment with what you potentially should be doing, it doesn't drain you. You do the work, and then at the end, you're feeling almost more energized, more alive, right? And that's what you're saying.
Yeah, there's an amazing book that talks about this a lot. It's called The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks, and he talks about living in these different zones. And there's zone of incompetence, zone of competence, zone of excellence, and zone of genius. And many people get stuck in the zone of competence and excellence of excellence, because there, like, you're good at what you're doing. You could even be really awesome at what you're doing, but it doesn't make you want to jump out of bed every day. So it's still draining, but it's safe. You're probably making good money there. You're comfortable, whatever. So you get stuck there. But the zone of genius is that thing that you are so excited to do that serves the world, and you do it every day. You jump out of bed. You're awesome at it. Yeah. And so if you stay in that zone, then the amount of abundance is limitless for you, and the amount of happiness and everything, wealth, whatever, it's limitless for you if you live in that zone, and you're never tired. So you're constantly serving.
And what I've seen come from you is increasingly in the last few years is that you really are in your zone of genius, where it seems so effortless for you to come up with these incredible articles and these wonderful blog posts, and the things that you put up on Facebook instantly get hundreds and hundreds of comments, and it's because it's just so naturally who you are that it's just effortless for you, right?
Yeah, it's actually, I would like to give a what shout out to the universe. Because, I mean, all of those articles and blog posts and everything on Facebook, I mean, I'm pretty much just channeling from the universe through me. And you helped me with that a lot when I was working on my book.
Oh, really?
Do you remember what you said?
No, remind me.
I was really stuck on it, and I was trying to work through it and push through it, and I was like hating I couldn't come up with the chapters, and I was getting really annoyed for the 12 steps.
Yeah.
And I was like, bruh, and you're like, okay, your book is a joy addict, and you can't be annoyed. So put on music and dance, and then see what happens. So I made a 12-song playlist, and by the time I was done with the first song, I was dancing and typing, and I wrote all 12 in 3 minutes.
That's right. I remember that. Yeah, and we had joy parties to write our books together.
Yeah, and that's the way to connect with the universe, because when I'm dancing, that's when I feel like I'm channeling. So that's what makes everything so much easier.
So your joy work is to help people find this for themselves as well. Find more joy, find more of that zone of genius, right? So how do you do that for people?
Yeah, well, basically, lately I've been working with people that are totally in love with live music, that kind of feel like they're living a double life. So it's their festival self, which is this person that's dancing like a maniac, maybe dressing up like a chicken, covered in sparkles and dancing and having the best time ever. And then they come into their regular life, so maybe they're a lawyer or a teacher or whatever, and they feel like they can't be them. Right. And so they're living this completely double life. And so I help them merge the two. Right. So they can stop living a double life and be totally happy.
and helping them find the joy every day as you've found the joy every day.
Yeah.
Because I think if people don't know you, I think you've become a personality around Burlington because everybody sees you, walk around. But if people don't know you, they might see you and be surprised that you're skipping down the street, you're like, picking up birds and, taking them to make sure that they're safe if they're injured. I mean, you're really the embodiment of someone who's really soaking up every minute of life is what I see, right? So how do you help them have more of that?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a process. And so a lot of times I work in a 4-month program, and people will do the program over and over again until they feel where they're like, I'm good now, and then they get to go free. But it's really just that daily conscious choice of choosing joy, and I'm going to be happy, because you can choose whatever you want, and it's just the little shifts. So I help them see all these little shifts in things, and then all of a sudden it's like everything just falls into place, and they're like, oh, I get it now.
Right.
But it takes everybody a certain amount of time, and it all unfolds with divine timing, where they might be struggling for a while, and all of a sudden something that I said or taught or whatever, or something in themselves shifts, and they're like, yes.
Yeah. So if you were to think of maybe 1 or 2 or 3 ideas or recommendations that you'd want to give our viewers to say, okay, how can you start to practice more joy and find more joy in your life? What would those tips be?
Yeah, well, the one thing that really helps me is I have a morning joy party every morning, and you've done a morning joy party before. And it's like when I fall off the wagon, and I call it when I fall off my unicorn.
Right.
Usually what's happened is I forgot to do my morning joy parties. And so what you can do, I mean, it's whatever you love to do, but my personal joy parties are I wake up and I listen to a song, and I just close my eyes and listen to the music and really listen to the lyrics. And then I have that be my song of the day, whatever that is. And so I bring that focus with me throughout the day. I'll write in my journal. I love to write all the things I'm grateful for. I also have a manifestation journal, so I write all of the things I manifested, so I can go back and be like, whoa, I really did bring all these amazing things into my life. You can drink tea, you could take a shower, you can dance around like a maniac, you can lie on your back and kick your legs in the air, step outside and take a big, deep, fresh breath of air. So it's kind of whatever you want to do with the amount of time that you have. So morning joy parties, yes, really important.
And so the idea is to start your day with the intention of being joyful.
Yeah,
right? So
and it sets the pace for your entire day. Like when I don't do that, it's like I'll roll over and I'll go on my phone and start checking my email and my Facebook, and and then all of a sudden I go right to my computer and I'm just like sitting there, and then I'm still in my pajamas, I didn't brush my teeth. Like it really, when I have the joy parties, it's like, oh, I'm gonna drink water and how am I gonna brush my teeth?
And it's such a shift for many people because we're so programmed to, like you just said, start our day, check the news, watch to see what's going on in the world, turn on your phone, see what's happening. What emails did you get? Some people go on Facebook first thing, like, checking out what people have posted. And so you start the day not intentionally with where you want to be, but you're out there, bombarded by news, emails, posts, or whatever. And so what you're saying is start the other way. Start with yourself and start with joy.
Yeah, I challenge you to not turn on technology for 1 hour. And if that sounds crazy, maybe it's 10 minutes at first. You could take baby steps. It doesn't matter how big the step, as long as it's towards what you want.
It was in a conversation with you and Cora and a few other people in this wonderful circle that I realized how important it was to start my day that way, and that I had gotten away from it. That I was instantaneously turning on my phone and checking Facebook or email or whatever, and I wasn't aware that that's what I was doing. And it's really easy to get sucked in.
Oh, yeah, it still happens to me. I still fall off my unicorn.
Right.
And the second thing that is important is tribehood. And so I have a group of people, 3 women that I meet with on the phone every week for an hour and a half. And when I fall off my unicorn, they're like, well, what's going on? Are you doing your morning joy parties? Oh, yeah, I'm not. I'm just checking Facebook again. Thank you. And it brings me back. And then also my program, Rock Your Life Mentorship, it's all creating a tribe, and so they all support each other and love each other up, and they all want the same thing, and that really helps you because you're not supposed to do any of this alone.
Right.
Like, we're supposed to be in tribes.
Right. Oh, so what you're talking about, this tribehood, is just getting the support. But is it any kind of support, or are you talking about specifically a group of people that are supporting you in your joyful living, in your intentional living?
Yeah, I mean, that's extremely important. Any kind of support is going to be good, but that is really important to surround yourself with people that want the same thing as you, that will support you unconditionally.
Right. So for lack of a group, an already existing group like that, could people sign up for one of your programs, or is that some of what you offer?
Yeah, actually the next mentorship program is starting mid-November, so I think there's 8 spaces left.
Oh, there you go.
It.
There you go.
Yeah.
So if you don't have a tribe that supports you in your daily joy and living in your zone of genius, then you can consider joining Taraleigh's tribe. So what's it called again?
Rock Your Life Mentorship.
Rock Your Life. And how long is it?
It's a 4-month program, and it's awesome. I mentor, and then I bring mentors to the group, and they're mostly musicians because I love live music, and people get to pick their brains. So if you're on the call, you get to talk to someone in the Allman Brothers Band or Ryan Montbleu Band or all of these musicians because I find if you're a musician and you're on the road all of this time, like it's a really difficult life, but you're continuously doing it. It's in your zone of genius. That is so inspiring to anyone else who's doing anything.
Right. Yeah, it has been really eye-opening for me to listen to some of these musicians on your calls because they are really choosing their passion, and it's kind of a sacrificed life, but you see how it brings them so much joy. So it is definitely very inspiring.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have the morning joy parties. We have the tribal support, getting your tribe that keeps you going. What else?
Yeah, that life is happening for you and seeing the miracle in everything, no matter how tragic it may seem. Because there's a saying, I don't know who says it, but it's pain is inevitable and suffering is optional.
Right.
And so if you can choose to see the miracle in everything that's happening, like I just had a miscarriage, and it was one of the stories I shared in the Huffington Post, and I see it as such a miracle. Like obviously I was devastated at first from the news, and I mean I'm still a little sad, but I also see all of the amazing things that happened because of that.
Right.
And also being able to share my story when it's something that is seen as taboo or whatever, not really talked about. And I challenged all these women to share their stories too. And there was hundreds and hundreds of comments of people that never told anyone.
Right.
Like one woman didn't even tell her husband, and it happened 40 years ago. And because she saw my story, she shared, and it's the first time she ever told anyone.
That's incredible. That's incredible.
And so I can just see how it happened for me in so many ways.
Yeah.
Also, like that my body recognized that this wasn't a viable pregnancy and like flushed my body and then reset it to begin with when I didn't know my body was so smart and wise. And so now I feel like my body rocks and I could totally handle birth, where I didn't believe that before.
Right.
So there's so many reasons why this miscarriage happened for me, and so you can do that with anything in life.
Yeah, and that is also a very powerful shift of perspective when you see the things that are not going according to plan or that you wished weren't happening, and all of a sudden shifting and saying, okay, if this is perfect, right?
Yeah.
What's in here for me?
Yeah, I think you're even one of the first people that posed that question to me of like, what if this is the best thing happening to you right now or for you right now?
Right.
What would that mean? And you're like, oh, so you can ask yourself that when anything is happening, no matter how horrible or tragic it may seem, what if this is the best thing happening for me right now?
Yeah. And I want to talk about something about your blog, and then we'll come back to see if you have any other tips. But there's something in you just sharing about how you wrote this blog post about your miscarriage. That when I saw that blog post come out, I wasn't surprised because I know how genuine and open and how you really share your vulnerability and your growth points and where you're learning something about yourself. There's so many of Taraleigh's blog posts that are called like what I learned from blank, that everything in there is usually something where you're exposing some flaw, let's call it flaw, or something that you identified in yourself that you wanted to grow from. I wasn't surprised when I saw your post about the miscarriage, but it's not common for people to share so openly. So what is the impact, and you've already shared a little bit of this, but what's the impact that you're seeing in people from your very vulnerable way of sharing your own journey?
Yeah, I feel like by me, I don't really feel like it's bravery because I'm just being me, but a lot of people have felt that what I was doing was brave, and they felt by me being able to share and being brave, it allowed them to feel safe enough and brave enough to be able to share their story too. Because anything that I'm dealing with and going through, there's probably a million other people that are going through the same thing.
Right. And all it needs is for someone to voice that pain or that struggle, and they feel like they're not alone, right?
Yeah.
You're really inspiring to read, so I wanted to make that point. So what else? So there's the joy parties, there's the tribe, there's the reframing to look at how is this perfect and happening for me, right?
Yeah.
And anything else?
I mean, living in a state of gratitude is really important. I write all the things I'm grateful for every day in my little journal, and I just like thank the universe all the time, no matter what. Like, it might be like, I just made the bus. Like, thank you, universe. It's so amazing. I'm so grateful.
Yeah.
So yeah, living in that state.
Yeah, and I've loved seeing some of your posts where you just go on a rant or a listing of all the things that you're grateful for, or when you went through a period of time where for every post that you put on Facebook you added I love Dan, and Dan is Taraleigh's husband. So it's just like, it's so infectious to see you just post whatever that it's really inspiring to kind of follow in your footsteps and really recognizing gratitude.
Thank you.
So I'm curious about why music? Why? So you have articles such as what I learned from Michael Franti, what I learned from Grace Potter, what I learned from Fish, and these are all published on Mind, Body, Green, right? So why music? Why look at, let me just leave it at that. Why music?
Yeah, oh my gosh, music is everything. So to me, when I'm at a live music show, that is where I would let loose. Like, I let my freak flag fly, and I would do high kicks and like dance like a maniac, like everyone was watching, but I didn't care. I just let the truest, authentic expression of myself out, and it felt so good.
Right.
And so that, I mean, I feel like is the main thing of why I love music, is because it allows you to just be free. So it's my religion, basically.
Music is your religion.
Yeah.
So tell us, what were some of the things that, for example, and I don't mean to put you on the post, maybe you don't remember, put you on the spot, maybe you don't remember, but on your post about, because I love Michael Franti as well, as you know, what you learned about Michael Franti, what are some of the things that you learned from him?
Yeah, one of the things that I really love is that he shows us so much of how we're all one. And he is this amazing rock star, very successful. And normally when you go see a concert, you're down lower and the musician's pretty much up on a pedestal, like, performing, where Michael Franti does not do that. He is in the crowd, running through everywhere, letting other people sing his songs.
Right.
Like, he is just showing you that we're all one. And so what I learned from him, one of the things, is that if he can do this, then anyone can. Like, we can do whatever we want. If he can do it, he's no different than me or you. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a really wonderful, wonderful person. So I want to be sure that we show our viewers how to find you and follow you. So I want to show them your website and the way that they can follow you on Facebook, Twitter, etc. So your website is TaraleighLovesYou.com, and it's essentially mostly your blog, but there's also how to access your programs, retreats, etc. Right?
Yep.
Then there's also Taraleigh on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram, and I highly recommend that you follow her on these social media because, like I was saying, she is really a joy fest in and of herself. And on Facebook, she's at Taraleigh Loves You. On Twitter, she is Taraleigh Love, and you can also find her as Taraleigh Weathers, obviously, if people Google you, right? And Taraleigh's upcoming book is How to Become a Joy Addict, the 12-step program, and this was the book that you channeled while dancing. And
Yes.
It was so fun to be a part of that creative process. And it's published by, is it Hay House or?
It's Balboa Press. They're a sister company of Hay House.
I can't wait to see it.
Me too.
So in the last few minutes of our show, is there a particular story that you'd like to share of someone's transformation or your own that captures what a difference living with joy can make?
Yeah. So this woman in my program, I'm not going to say names because I'll just make up a name. Her name is Henrietta.
Okay, so Henrietta.
And Henrietta is a professional dancer. And she is now choreographing in this company as well. and she was having a lot of problems with like the drama of dance. And the reason why she is dancing is because she wants to shift the dance world from body hatred and all of that stuff, and to loving your body and dancing purely from your soul, and it doesn't matter like what is on the outside. And so one thing that she learned is that she's becoming more and more powerful, and the more powerful you become, the more you trigger people, because and that's okay.
Right.
And so she was a huge people pleaser, and that she was afraid to trigger people, so it was keeping her from stepping into her power of being this amazing dancer, choreographer, world changer of the world of dance.
Right.
Because she was afraid. And so she shifted into being like, if I trigger them, that is not my responsibility, and as long as I'm doing my best and being impeccable with my word and all of that, then I'm doing the right thing. So that was a really big shift in perception. And then another thing was she was teaching dance at this one studio where she felt like she was stuck there, and she wanted to let it go. And I was like, well, is it something that you can shift, or is it something you need to let go? And she was like, oh, well, maybe I want to shift people's perception of dance and do body love and all of that, and these are children.
Yeah.
So she shifted her classes where she closed the curtains so they weren't looking in the mirror. They started each class by talking about what they love about their body, and she shifted it into something amazing.
Wow, that's really profound. The ripple effects of the work that you're doing can be enormous, so that's really incredible. And what is the most significant thing that maybe you've observed in your own life from living in this way?
I seriously feel happy 99% of the time, where that was not the case before.
Right.
And yeah, and I feel like I'm just reflecting it in how I dress and how I act and how my business is running. Like, it's all just because I'm so happy.
Right.
And I want to spread it, and I want everyone to feel this happy.
So in the last minute or so that we have, is there one final message that you would want to give our viewers in terms of taking the first step into this place?
Yeah, I challenge them to commit a random act of play.
Which would be, like, what is a random act of play? Like, what would that be like?
I walk by playgrounds all the time, and I'll go on the playground. I'll go on the slide, go on the swings. That could be a random act of play. It could be skipping down the street.
Yeah.
Because people are going to judge you no matter what you do anyway, so you might as well just let your freak flag fly and be crazy and do whatever you want.
Exactly. I was so bummed that I missed the day where you took sidewalk chalk and started playing on the sidewalk in Burlington, and inviting people to play hopscotch or whatever it was. And I was so bummed that I missed that day. So there you have it. We're challenging our viewers and anybody who watches the show on YouTube later to commit a random act of play, anything that is silly, goofy, but brings them joy, right?
Yeah, and send me an email and tell me what you did. I want to know.
Wonderful. Thank you so very much for joining me on the show. You are a delight to be with. You're an inspiration. And like I said, I am so proud to call you my friend. I can't wait to see the things that you're going to continue doing and the ways in which you're going to continue inspiring me.
Well, I'm just a mirror, and I feel the same exact way about you. So thank you for being my mirror.
So thank you for joining us in this little bit of a joy fest. Hopefully it's inspired you, and hopefully Taraleigh has given you some ideas to start unleashing your joy and becoming more of a joy addict. I hope you'll join me next time. See you soon.